17th, 2020 OK2A meeting. Welcome to our Facebook Live crowd there. We're glad you're with us tonight. If you haven't taken yet, take your phone and switch it to silent. Or as I used to say, set your stun guns or your tasers to stun. And let's go ahead and have our prayer. Let's stand together. Father, we thank you for the chance that we have and the freedom that we have to gather together tonight. We ask you to let your divine guidance watch over us. We pray for those of our membership that are having personal issues tonight, family illnesses and other things. We ask you to watch over them, watch over Don as he works with this group and with the legislation and all the things that he deals. Give him the wisdom that he needs day by day. Ask you to bless us and bless this time together. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And then the pledge to the flag. Attention, pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. And now we have the president of OK2A, Mr. Don Smith himself.
All right, here we go. Woohoo! Oh, that crowd is so big. Yeah. This is a leftover from the Trump rally. Hey, you guys on Facebook Live, this is a leftover from the Trump rally. This place is packed beyond belief. There's not room to set another person. There's not room to pass out another mask. There's probably room for a Democrat if we felt nice about it. I couldn't hear for that. Anyway. Hey, did you guys hear? There was an election.
Huh?
Well, so
What?
Oh, okay, it wasn't just me. So you guys heard that too?
Yeah.
Back like weeks ago, right? Like 2 weeks ago. Is that what that was? Seems like an eternity already, doesn't it? Since you just don't have a definitive answer on, I don't know, one particular race. But what I do want to point out tonight is that OK2A, there was only one race in the general election at a state senate seat that we endorsed that did not win. Everything else carried through, and I'm telling you, man, this is a big deal.
Yep.
The Oklahoma House of Representatives now has 82 Republicans on that side of the aisle and 19 Democrats.
Wow.
Yep.
And one of those Republicans, brand spanking new, is here tonight. Eric Roberts, stand up there.
Woo!
I'm thrilled because he's been a regular here. For how long have you been going here? 2 years, 3 years?
About that. Yep.
About something like that? See, it's pretty bad. If I can keep track of that, it is bad. But that just shows you the working relationship. We work with legislators at the state capitol. We have legislators that are regular members and attending members and watching on live this group and what we do and how we try to move things forward. And I'm telling you, folks, it's very, very encouraging. Also with the Senate, we've had some very healthy changes. Thank you guys very much for participating in that. And I think we'll maintain our most of all conservative effort. There's still always one or two we're going to keep an eye on for sure. But I'm encouraged. Now, I've gotten emails, messages, phone calls, people seriously upset about Joe Biden maybe possibly becoming president. Folks, I want to state something right up front. It doesn't matter who the president is, it should never change your faith. It should never, your faith should never be in a man. You can have some hope, but it should not be in a man. Your faith should be in God, and we all know that this is going to still, even though it may get darker and there's plenty of room for it, it's still going to turn out, turn out well. And I think that even if Joe Biden, stole an election or not, does become president, I think that this is going to be a solid representation of what's going to help Oklahoma. Because you've heard me say for years, Don't pay any attention to those morons in Washington, D.C. You worry about right here in our own backyard first, and let's get this fixed. Then we'll focus on that. But we've still got a lot to fix right here. That's for sure. In fact, I got an email because this is one of the primary points I want to point out tonight. I got an email, I'm not going to say the guy's name, but here's what he wrote. This is on his November the 15th. He said, as a bronze member, which is a $25 level, I doubt I will have much in the way of any influence, but due to the election of, this is what cracks me up, Joe Obama O'Biden. Spell check, put a red line under that. I'm pretty sure making Oklahoma a sanctuary state should be a priority. Stevens County, Oklahoma announced itself a sanctuary county after some of the events in Virginia. And I believe as a state, we should take the step in that direction. And he writes right here, this is what is sad, is I'm a nobody. Folks, you got a pulse, you can breathe, you're somebody. You're somebody. And you may think you're insignificant, but folks, one vote can mean a whole lot. Right. But he says, I'm a nobody, and he's got the parentheses, a law-abiding, tax-paying nobody. So contacting a state rep or senator is probably, hello, Don, done this before? It's probably a waste of time. But you as your organization representing many might catch an ear. Well, folks, I don't like to just point out people and say you're wrong, but you're not a nobody and you're wrong. Your representatives want to hear from you. So tonight, I want to make an example. Who here knows, do you have a new representative or senator? No. You do. You have a new representative or senator. Okay. Here's what we go back to. And who here knows who your existing representative or senator is? All right, here's where the real question comes in. You guys at home better take notes. Do you have their phone number on your phone and their email on your email, on your phone? Do you have that ready right now to start contacting them? Ooh, it's quiet. It gets quiet. But folks, that's what has to happen. Now, some of you are fortunate enough that you've known some of these people that were running for office, so they provided you their cell phone. They already provided you a private email address. Great. That's exactly a good spot to be in. Also, there'll be new phone numbers that are coming out in emails. They may already be posted, so I may actually be pushing you something that you can't do just yet. But the objective is to make sure you get this new representatives or legislators on your phone, because this is where 90% of the battle takes place. Right here from your phone. Because just as simple as like this last week, we made a request for people to send emails to state legislators on behalf of a concern of a district attorney that's in Oklahoma that we've had troubles with for years, and it's time to fix it. So, and there was a very good response to that. And that's just something simple. All you have to do is copy and paste, hit who it goes to, and send it and go. And folks, how much easier is that than having to go up against, because you've done nothing, go up against real tyranny with a threat of coming and taking your guns, coming and physically taking you. When all we had to do was pull out our phone and send an email, and maybe at some point make a phone call. So this is what's important. You've got to make sure, one, who is your state rep? Who is your state senator? You have to have that on your phone. That is your objective. So when people say, well, what can I do? That's what you can do. Because I assure you, they want to hear from you. Even if you've got a gun bill right in front of them, even though you know they're going to support it, you give them an attaboy. Hey, we know you're going to vote right for us. Just a simple, quick message. Do not abuse what you've been given also. Sending a text every 5 or 10 minutes is completely counterproductive. You don't want to be that nut. You don't want to be that annoying person. There may be a time we have to when we're trying to make sure we're getting something across the finish line, but at this point, that's where that needs to remain. So when you know, and it still cracks me up because this happened last year, It just cracks me up. I'm up in the gallery, Gun Joe goes through, take a picture of it. We post it on Facebook just seconds later, and already legislators are on the floor getting texts and emails and phone calls from people either thanking them for the vote, or a couple of them caught hell for their vote. And one of them was that Spencer, that SOB. I don't even get off the floor, and I'm getting calls from these people. SOB, I'll take it. That's fine. I'll take that. Because, folks, we've done nothing here immoral, illegal, illogical. You voted. We took a picture of it. We posted it. You know, if you've got a problem with it, maybe you should correct it before you get in that situation. Or, I'm sorry, before you put yourself in that situation. So, that's what OK2A has done, and we're going to continue to work this forward like this. But for anybody at any point think that you're nobody, that is a huge mistake. But it may only take a few phone calls, a few emails to help reaffirm a legislator or one that's sitting on the fence that probably shouldn't be. But it can also help them to realize that, you know what, because this is the right thing to do. Because what do you think those ladies in them red shirts are going to be doing?
Crying, yeah.
They're going to be sending them. They're going to be texting them. They're going to be emailing them. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. So we've got to be vocal, and we've got to be strong with that. So again, I say, make sure you know who your new legislators are, because I know there's quite a few state senators, and we've got a fair amount of new representatives in there, and I think they're all sworn in this week, ready to go. And in fact, as a matter of fact, let me tell you how good things go here sometimes. I got this today. Oh, here it is. Right? People were worried about it. Directly related to this guy right here. He says, what are we going to do to make Oklahoma a sanctuary state? Well, for starters, we're going to kick back up on the list with all these sheriffs that just got elected and hold positions. We're going to remind them, guys, we need you to announce you're a sanctuary county. Let's go ahead and get that back going again, because it needs to restart, because there's quite a few new sheriffs in and stuff. Some of them are not going to want to do it. Some of them think they're going to coast on that. A lot of them made a promise they did just as soon as they got in there. The sheriff in Pawnee, and I just forgot his name. But anyway, he got elected. We pushed. We worked for him, and he beat the existing sheriff in office. That's how much we worked. We bought ads. We bought Facebook. We did, and they had people working, and so we worked from every side we could on that. So great job on that. Now, to address this, you guys have heard of State Senator Bergstrom up there in northeast Oklahoma, way up there. He's been pretty good for us. In fact, this year was the first year he did not put a bill on the desk of the governor, but there was only one that got there anyway. I always tell you guys, you get one bill on the desk of the governor, you've had a good year, so it was a good year. But he's gotten bills passed, signed into law every year before that as a state senator. And he was reelected this year. But what we have here, guys, he introduced this today. We actually have a bill number for you right now. Usually we don't have these till January. So this is a big deal. So Senate Bill 18 is the Second Amendment Protection Act, which makes Oklahoma a sanctuary state for Second Amendment rights. Any federal, state, county, or municipal act, law, executive order, administrative order, court order, rule, or regulation ordering the confiscation of firearms, firearm accessories, ammunition for law-abiding citizens of this state shall be considered an infringement on the rights of the people to keep and bear arms.
Amen.
There's more to it than that. I'm not going to sit here and read the whole thing. We're going to make sure it's put up on our website, Senate Bill 18, so you can go up there and look at it. There's already, we've got a few little things we're going to adjust in it, which shouldn't be any problem, but you get the concept of what we're talking about. And now, like I said, that's going to be called the Second Amendment Protection Act. And you could call it the Sanctuary Act, but I don't want to, because I'm so tired of sanctuary actually being a negative connotation. It's a protection act, okay? So that's what OK2A is working on. Thank you. State Senator Bergstrom for this. We worked to make sure we got him reelected, and you can see why. The guy is a constitutionalist, and we are so proud of that. Thank you very much, sir. Any questions on that? No questions? Really?
I got a question. Did you say he introduced a bill today?
Yeah, this is a bill number.
Okay, you mean he filed a bill today?
It's the same thing.
The legislature's not in session.
But bills have to be
The
introduced.
bill was introduced, we have it right here. This is the first reading.
Okay, he filed the bill.
Yeah, it's the same thing, sir.
Well, I'm just asking a question.
Yes, he filed the bill, it's been introduced today, yes. Okay. Okay, now, also, what we've been working on, like a madman, today I requested Senator Bullard, which will be no problem, he's gonna put this in. Last year, it was called Senate Bill 16. We don't have a bill number yet. It will be a Senate joint resolution, which means in 2022, provided we get it passed through the legislature, that it will be on a vote of the people. And this is on the right to keep and bear arms, and it specifically states the fundamental right of each individual citizen to keep and to bear arms in defense of person or property, including handguns, rifles, shotguns, knives, non-lethal defensive weapons, and other arms in common use, as well as ammunition and components of arms and ammunition for self-defense, lawful hunting, and recreation in aid of the civil power, where thereunto lawfully summoned, or for any other purpose, shall not be infringed.
Good. Wow.
Yeah, and there's two other paragraphs I'm going to read, but folks, this is a change to the state constitution, which has never happened since 1907 under the current law, under the current constitution. It says, there's this nasty little semicolon that says, but the legislature shall regulate the carry of weapons. It says it won't prohibit you to carry weapons, but we're going to prohibit you to carry weapons. The very first law in the books was you shall not carry a pistol, rifle, or shotgun on or about your person, whether loaded or unloaded. So this is well overdue because people do not understand it when I tell them, in Oklahoma, you currently do not have a Second Amendment right because it has been struck down by the legislature and it has been struck down by the courts in Oklahoma. And we have terrible, nasty court rulings that have to be fixed, and this is the fix for that. So we'll make sure whenever the bill number comes up on that, but this is by Senator Bullard, Rockstar. He introduced this for us last year, last session also. We'll do what we can. We have to get it through the Senate, folks. The Senate is the holdup, has been the holdup for 8 years that we've pushed this bill to correct this issue. No one to blame but the Republicans, folks. Right there's why. Right there's why. Okay. All right. Now here's one we've been talking about. I have been working with the attorneys on this for, well, we got the draft back basically last week and this week. We've worked on it. Now, so you guys, you wonder what a bill looks like? Just to fix, just so you can defend yourself without it being an issue. Remember that shall not be infringed? You see what that turned into? No, it's not complicated, right? There's nothing to it. It's easy, right? Now you can pick up a couple pages. This is one bill. Okay, this is the Private Property Protection Act. And you've heard me talk about it. And as we've gone through this, I'll read you one portion of this. I'm going to read it from the felony portion because we don't want to be felons, right? I don't.
Nope.
I don't like it. I've seen. I don't like it. So anyway, felony pointing, 1289.16, and this is including the new language that we're proposing. It shall be lawful. Pretty clear, right? There's no guessing. It shall be lawful to point shotguns, rifles, or pistols, knives, or any other deadly weapon at another person or persons, perpetrator, rioter, looter, or mob by a person that can legally own or possess a weapon pursuant to the provisions of Section 1272 of this title during an act of self-defense by by a premise owner, controller, or in self-defense, or in defense of real or private property located on the premises, or related easement owned, rented, leased, or occupied by permission of the premise owner or controller, whether or not the person is in possession of a valid handgun license pursuant to provision of the Oklahoma Self-Defense Act. I know that's a whole lot in one line, but folks, like I said, we told you we're gonna take the castle doctrine from the walls of your house to the edge of your property, and actually after we looked at it, that wasn't good enough. We're gonna take it out the edge of your easement. And if you think, what the heck does that have to do? See, there's that look, that's what I was thinking, that look right there. What does that got to do with the easement? Well, there's people here, I'm sure members in this group, who park your car
In the alley.
in the street or the alley. Well, that's correct. So if you have to park your car in the street, and basically the easement is half of that street, and there's no reason, just because you should not be able to defend your car or your property just because it's parked in the street, but it wasn't parked in the driveway or somewhere up on the property. We're not gonna play that game. It's your property, you protect it. That's what we're looking at here. So that's a major key point that OK2A is looking at on this. And like I say, it's a terrible thought. And right there in the Oklahoma's self-defense in the state constitution, it says clearly, you have the right to defend property. But if you don't even have the right to own or carry a gun, how can you defend property? So it's basically worthless, which goes back to the Senate bill, and SJR just mentioned why we need to shore up you being able to defend property. Here we're going to shore it up in statute. So to say that this is complicated, we're trying to take the complicated out of it. Because like I say, it used to say, well, it shall not be unlawful. And we're like, that's a load of crap. Let's just say it like this. It's lawful. You come onto my property, threaten me, Molotov cocktail, or a dozen of you, I'm going to be pointing my firearm at you for the act of self-defense. And if I feel elevated that my life or my property is threatened, therefore, to squeeze that trigger shall be justified. You're just going to leave our stuff alone. And it's got to stop. Especially, some of you got to see the couple from St. Louis, was at the church, was it last month or earlier this month? Maybe it was last month. And that was there, and you saw a bunch of people, everything from threatening to rape her, murder them, come back and burn their house down, all those kinds of things. And you know what? It only takes one of those to convince you there's a problem. And so, and I'm really fed up. I'm fed up for a long time when people just say, oh, just leave, the insurance will cover it. I think you're getting ready to see insurance take a skydive down because properties are not going to be molested and have a problem because, you know what? Granny may just step off the porch and shoot me for not getting off her yard. Well, because she's convinced you're going to harm or kill her. So, it's going to be that way there. And so let's make it clear, folks. If the Girl Scouts come up and knock on your door to sell your favorite cookies, you can't waste the Girl Scouts, okay? Even if they don't have your favorite cookie. That's not what this is about. This is about the bona fide act of self-defense and self-protection. Someone knocks on your door at 11 o'clock at night, it doesn't mean you can shoot through your door because you're scared. That's not what this is about. This is about real fear, dealing with real property and real lives. And we're going to elevate this. We're going to elevate this, like I say, I personally think with constitutional carry, I personally think it stopped a lot of the potential in Oklahoma for riots and mobs and stuff because anybody could be carrying a gun and anybody could pull it out. I think that had a real deterrent to it. And I thank Governor Stitt for inking that puppy just as soon as we could get it on his desk to do it. So a lot of these things you can see how they're coming together like that. But again, that's the Private Property Protection Act, and we go also into clarifying the defensive display of a firearm. and this could mean also on your property or off of your property. And it says defensive display of a firearm, and these are things that shall not be deemed a criminal act. Defensive display of a firearm or other deadly weapons by a person against a perpetrator, rioter, looter, or mob is justified to the extent a reasonable person believes that physical force is immediately necessary to protect himself, herself, or another against the use of an attempted use of unlawful physical or deadly force by a person, premise owner, by the premise owner controlling, blah, 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 blah. But you see what we're getting at here. We're putting it in two different spots here that you have the right to defend yourself and your property. And it's not, that will not be a felony. No, we've got it here to clarify. You can't just walk down the street while you're gunning at somebody. Nope, that's felony pointing. You're not going to get away with that. And it's very clear. It's for the act of self-defense. Any questions on that so far? And it's still changing. We're still working on this.
I have an online question that's not related to that.
Okay, try me.
I'm not sure about the context here. This is from Kenneth. He says, do we have added protection in Oklahoma for ammo?
Yes. I'm not sure how he's looking for the protection, but what we have here is what I just read on the SJR. It'll be the third paragraph, and I'll read it to you here real quick. Paragraph C. And this is this isn't a statute, this is the Constitution for Oklahoma. And it reads, it hopefully will read, no law shall impose registration or special taxation upon the keeping of arms, including the acquisition, ownership, possession, or transfer of arms, ammunition, or the components of arms or ammunition. So there cannot be a special taxation. They can't say, you know what, we're going to outlaw primers, which pretty much can shut down the whole show pretty fast. So this is the type of thing to help protect our individual and our group rights from that being taken from us. So I hope that addressed that question. Yes, sir.
Can you clarify, is Senator Bullard the sponsor for the SJR?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was-
He introduced it last year. We got it out of committee. The Senate killed it in the Senate floor. And it would have been a darn good year to have that on the
Ballot.
Oh my gosh. Who here didn't vote? Let's do it that way. You didn't vote?
I didn't vote because I broke my ankle that day and couldn't get up there.
Wow.
Rats.
Okay.
It's not too
There's so many reasons.
You can mail it in Pennsylvania, they're still taking votes.
Duct tape.
I really wasn't looking for a true confession, but that was a good one.
First if you didn't vote, so I kicked your ankle.
And no gun playing.
Moving on.
All right.
On, Don,
So, you got a
on,
question?
yeah, on Facebook, just a comment here. We got Carl Roberts watching from Stockton, California. He's
Stockton, California. Yeah, you guys type in what parking lot, where you're watching from. Who knows? If you're here, anyone watching from Ed Murray's house, please type that in.
Okay.
Hey, Bobby Cleveland. He's supposed to be hobbling in here before too long. He had his foot surgery or something done. I think he may have stuck it up his own rear before that thing was over. Yeah, he walks kind of rough sometimes. Bobby Cleveland, we missed you. You need to show up here too sometime. All right. Any questions on that bill, whichever one I was just talking about? Private Property Protection Act.
I have.
You get the concept. Yes, ma'am.
And I know John's probably gonna throw something at me. But if a job tells you you can carry a weapon
If a job, yes, private employer. Okay.
and you get stopped with that weapon in your vehicle,
Yes,
but it's not your weapon, it's Johnny's weapon,
okay.
should he have gotten a fine for it?
No.
He can't look
No.
at it.
Because
As
he
long as
told-
it's a legal weapon.
Yeah.
It's a legal weapon.
Yeah,
You can get a fine for that.
he told my brother-in-law that
He
it was not allowed to
He who?
cop as Shawnee.
Shawnee, well, it looks like we got some educating to do with Shawnee, on the firearm. The firearm provided, the only thing that would be an issue if that firearm was stolen, stolen, then that's an issue. The officer would be right. But it's not. It's a legal weapon in legal possession, legal and peaceful possession, legal and peaceful transport. The officer, it would be completely wrong on that. And that's what OK2A is working
The
on.
officer actually told him that since he was carrying his weapon on the job, he'd have to be certified armed security guard.
No. Unless he's a guy that's hauling money for somebody.
He's not.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I told
For
him.
the
You
most,
don't have
for
to.
99% of it, it's gonna be no.
Yeah.
If he was a school bus driver, would be yes, and with other things, but for 99%, the answer is the officer was misinformed. And here's what we're doing too. We're making this real simple. We've also got a bill, in fact, I was gonna go here next, in the omnibus bill. We've also got it introduced by Representative Murdoch somewhere. Well, I guess I'll wing it. We also have it introduced somewhere, a bill for transporting long guns fully loaded without any issue in your vehicle or any vehicle. So it clarifies that, because right now, the way the law is, it can't be chambered for a long gun in your vehicle. Pistols can be fully loaded and chambered. A long gun cannot. But here's the goofy part. A law enforcement officer, unless he can articulate a criminal act, he can't inspect the weapon anyway. So what's the point? So the point is, let's just fix it, so if you're outside of your vehicle with a loaded long gun, it's legal to be inside your vehicle with a loaded long gun, just like the pistol. It's cleared up, it's easy for everybody, we all go home, no problems. So that's what's going on. What we've done here, this is what we're calling the omnibus bill. Now earlier I showed you only a 19-page, this is a 45-page bill. What we have done is there was 5 bills that were stalled in the Senate last year, but they all passed out of the House. We crammed them all into one bill. Let's play catch up. We're going to play catch up with this bill. And it's funny, the House and the Senate both, I get comments back, when are we going to quit getting all these gun bills? Well,
There you go.
pass them, and then we won't be bugging you, will we? Let's get this fixed, and we won't be bothering you too much. Maybe a little tweak here or there, and that'd be about it. But if you set on stuff and you intentionally let it die, we're going to be back, and we're going to be cramming it right back in there. We're going to be right back where we're at. If you guys haven't figured out before, we waited 7 years to get one bill passed. We waited 5 years to get another bill passed. We're on 8 years on getting our Constitution changed, and which will probably go to 10 before it's over with. So we're persistent, and we're going to get it fixed. So let's just go ahead and fix it now and be done with it, so we don't have to have this ugly disagreement. And you guys, especially in the Senate leadership, stopping this kind of stuff. So it's got. Let me see, what's the first one here we're fixing? The first one that goes in here it fixes is the long carry in a car. Now, this was not passed out of the House last year, so this is an added to this. But everyone is like, yeah, it makes perfect sense, it's no big deal. So that's the one thing that's being fixed. The second part is being fixed is the issue of carrying a firearm into a restaurant that serves alcohol. It clarifies that you can or cannot have a license, and also a person that is specifically in a bar that an employee with the permission of the property owner would also be able to carry a firearm, because right now the law says only the property owner, the business owner can carry. Well, that's not enough. That's not enough. Also, it takes away the felony for a person that enters a bar. That's all it is a bar. It's not a restaurant, it's just a bar. It takes the felony away and reduces it to a misdemeanor if they refuse to leave, which is just like anything else on other private property. And we had to fix it this way. It's just how we had to fix it this way. Just trust me on that. So we're looking at that. That's being added into this also. Also, we're going back into, and we're clarifying that you can carry your gun while on a public street, public property, and so on, which just some spots we had to clean up. So you can carry it in a street, a plaza, a sidewalk, or an alley, because there's been some, especially in Tulsa, where there would be an event that would take place, and they would decide to say, you know what, you can't carry your guns. And we're like, no, that doesn't work. And so they would try to hide behind this one little spot while it's in the street, and you don't have it okay to carry in the street. Okay, well, we're gonna fix it. And so here we're fixing that in here also. We're clarifying, because right now a lot of people don't realize, of course, with so many gun shows being shut down, it doesn't hardly matter. But if a gun show is on a public trust property such as a fairgrounds, currently, under current law, because the Senate refused to fix it after I showed them over and over, currently, gun shows are virtually illegal under current law. And I kept my mouth shut for the first year until we get it fixed. Okay, we got constitutional carry, we'll fix it next year. But basically, the language says you can only carry a concealed handgun on a public trust property. You cannot carry an open handgun. So you can see that that's a little bit of trouble for a gun show, right? Because it's kind of hard to sell a gun if it's concealed. So Senate leadership's going to have to help run with this because they just flat dropped the ball and it was very easy for them to fix last year. Is there a question there?
Increased caliber limit?
We're getting it.
Okay.
So close.
Just so close.
So close. So this is one of the things that this bill also, it clarifies that a public trust property that you're required to carry a firearm concealed unless the person or entity in control of the public trust property during that business lease time says you can open carry, which is fine for what we're talking about. It's a crummy way of fixing it, but we're fixing it. So that's what we're getting to. And yes, I've got that fixed in one of these bills, and I think it's this bill. But yes, we're taking the 45 caliber handgun restriction size out where you can carry, basically it will agree with federal law, which is up to 50 caliber. So that's coming out here too, because it's, I mean, I know I got 2 or 3 people over the past few years, well, I got a Desert Eagle I'd like to carry. Man, I'd like to see you carry that too. You almost need 2 of them, right? But you know, I sure don't. One guy, he wasn't real big. So anyway. But yes, that's the other one we're fixing. Also, we're cleaning up some language on public school properties because current law still states that you have to have a handgun license before you can leave your gun in your car unattended. This language is clearing up to where it's your gun. You just make sure it's hidden out of sight. It's existing law. We don't care. It's none of our business. So on. Yeah, you got it.
I got a question here.
Okay.
Will shoulder holster or chest carry become illegal?
Well, we were talking about that with the attorney. We looked back over that, and we think the existing language fixes that. What section is that? It's 1290.2. Let's just read it out loud together, class. If I can find it here. Okay. This is how it will read. Okay. And we're dealing with an unconcealed, and we're changing the word handgun to firearm to help clear that up. It says, an unconcealed firearm or open carry means a loaded or unloaded firearm that is not held in the hand, but rather, and this is a key point, but rather is carried upon the person in a holster where the firearm is visible or carried upon the person using a scabbard, sling, in a general vertical position where the barrel of the firearm is safely pointed in an up or down direction, or in a case designed for carrying firearms. Okay, so the question is, it's one of these, I call them the armpit things. If you've got that thing flat horizontal, it is a problem. If it's open carry. If it's concealed carry, it's not an issue. Because the concealed carry definition says carry concealed, which means a loaded or unloaded firearm which is not openly visible to the ordinary observation of a reasonable person. So you would have to carry that specific horizontal. Here's why this is such a big deal. There's several DAs that are just dying, and I actually want to make sure any person that carries that gun in that horizontal position, they're going to charge you with felony pointing. Because you turn around, you're pointing a gun at somebody. It's horizontal, it's just like that, it is pointing a gun at somebody. And it never fails, they always charge with felony, and they'll get away with it for the most part, because the fact, are you intentionally carrying that gun horizontal? Well, yes. Well, if you're intentionally carrying it horizontal, there's some DAs that are gonna wanna charge you with felony pointing. And as an instructor, on a course, and I've been out, folks, I don't let people carry it that way on mine, because they're sticking that back in that holster, it's horizontal, it can go off, take a ricochet, hit someone direct, those issues can happen. That gun will need to be at a cant. And a general possession of pointing up or down, so basically it's gonna be have to be pointed down. So there's been a few people that are upset about this, but okay, but here's what OK2A is trying to do. I'm trying to keep you from getting charged with a felony. And if you don't think it's fun, there's been two people that we know of in and around this organization, one who was arrested for a felony, another one who was charged for a felony, and both of them are having their charges dropped, but their life is screwed up for a year, plus the cost of it. And I am not sure, in fact, is Adam Film, was he in here somewhere? No, he already left, all right. U.S. Law Shield, I'll have to bring up the specific question, because if you're carrying that handgun in a horizontal position, knowingly and willingly, and and you could be charged with the crime, I don't know if they're going to defend you or not. You see my point? I don't know I think you'd have to pay for a lawyer to do it. So what we're doing is I'm trying to make sure you're not charged with a felony. So you'll have to carry that gun in a horizontal, either concealed, where no one can see it, which can be done, or you're going to have to carry it at a cant. It's got to have to be angled down somewhat, and most of the ones, I mean, I've seen them both ways, but most of the ones have a cant anyway, and they pull it like that instead of pulling it straight out. To me, I don't know that there's a whole lot of difference. You practice with either one, you get used to either one. So if there's someone that's going to be upset with us because we're trying to keep you from getting a felony, be upset with us. I don't want more to tell you. Because I think it's quite possible a prosecutor could pull off that felony charge. I think it's possible. So, so you're going to get upset about it, and like I said, I've got a couple of calls and concerns about it. And one guy had already called me a traitor and selling me out. I'm just trying to keep you out of jail. That's all we're doing here. So anyway, so that is I hope that's the answer to that question. So yes, it will still be, if you're carrying a firearm in a horizontal position, it's going to be an issue. And if you're carrying it in your bare hands, which is under current law, it's an issue. So have the thing, have your strap, your scabbard, your sling, whatever, ready to go, everything's fine. It's already good to see law enforcement in the past year. How much does it seem like they've already adjusted to what's going on? It's taking some place, but it's doing. And we've still got some educating to do. Maybe we'll have to have a special class there in Shawnee for you on that too. So that's one of the other. It's clarifying some definitions in this omnibus bill, and a lot of this is clean up from the word, change the word handgun to firearm. You got another one there?
I got a question.
Okay.
Have we, the issue I found in Mustang, Oklahoma, when that soccer field,
Did they
has
ever
that?
clear that up?
Mm-mm.
Well, we sent them a nice letter, didn't we?
I guess we need to call
No, what we do is we send them
them. Another
letter,
certified mail.
certified mail. That's because we have certified mails, which is evidence. So we can start a legal proceeding if they don't bring in compliance with state law.
Okay.
I know there's another one in Moore. The main thing too is it being enforced. That's my first issue. If they're enforcing it, you know me, that's the one we're gonna get right on. If they're just saying, yeah, we know, we got COVID stuff, we can't get together, we'll be patient, okay, we'll wait this out and we'll fix it later, as long as they're not enforcing the unlawful act. Removing people who are peacefully and legally carrying. So I'm going to be tolerant, and people say, oh, it should be like that. I agree, but we've also got legislation right here in this bill, right here in this very same bill, that addresses that they have a 90-day window. When we say you're in a violation of state law, you need to fix that sign, they have 90 days to fix it. Meanwhile, we've also got it in here, you're paying for my attorney while I'm telling you to fix it. So if you don't fix it, you're paying for my attorney right off and you're gonna pay, which is a very good incentive for municipalities to get it fixed. And 90 days, the way I looked at it is usually there's a once a month meeting of a city council. That's basically gives them 3 meetings to get with it and get it going. That's pretty reasonable. And I'm not gonna sit here as personally and hard and say, oh, yeah, we're gonna hold you exactly that 90 days. If we see them making an effort, I'm not, I got better things to do than, because we've seen some of these municipalities, folks, they literally have no money. And this year, they'll even be, if there's no money, and then they're down here, because there's nothing. I mean, you've got, everything just killing their business off, and so forth. So we gotta be patient, because like I say, if we come out with swords at every time there's something that happens, you lose respect pretty fast. But we just want to know one thing, when we come out with a sword, they know we're serious. So this is what so yes, the city of Moore has also got to sign up, but I talked to an officer, Matt, he said, I don't even know, we don't even enforce it, we'd care less. Okay. So that's the kind of stuff that's good to hear from people.
Yes, hey, a while back, somebody posted on Facebook, about the Stroud, the new riding trails. It says no firearms. Well, I talked to the chief of police.
Oh, yeah.
He said, how are we supposed to enforce that when it's a state law that you can carry?
Well, there you go. It's just now, warn people too. If there's one of these signs that are up, don't take it down. That is a violation of state law. You are tearing up state property or public
City property.
So you don't do that. You have to let them do that. So don't just think you can, and I know you want to, go with a chainsaw or whatever and take care of the problem, which I would agree in a minute would fix it a whole lot faster. Even if you decide to spray paint it over yourself, you're going to find yourself in trouble. So don't do that. There is a system we have to go by, as much as I want to call it, as a civil society to fix these things, and that's what we'll do. But like I say, we get some of this legislation in place, that 90-day window, any attorney, if they don't have to be very good, will realize, man, they're going to just come in here and clean our clock if we don't take care of this. So it's good, and also I've worked with the municipal league on it, and they're completely good with the language too. They understand our concern, and they understand that the municipalities need to respond. And we think that this will also, with the Oklahoma Municipal League, they have access, what do you tell me, over 500 municipalities in the state of Oklahoma. So now OK2A can channel this to the municipal league to get that out there and to educate cities like Shawnee on what they can and cannot do. So I'd say this is OK2A. Like I said, we're not, like I said, I don't want to come out threatening everything that happens. That's why if any of you have ever seen us send our first email, very respectful, very quiet. Just, hey, would you mind bringing this into compliance with state law? We would appreciate it. We would like a response at some point. Thank you. And most of the time, and there's been some times, we've gotten a response even within an hour. City of Piedmont, awesome. They had a brand new park. Someone decided to go in there and put up a no gun sign. Someone sent us a picture. I sent it to the City of Piedmont. And in an hour, the chief of police has that sign on his desk. That's what's supposed to happen. I mean, that's kudos. That's kudos. And it was because some private individual just thought, well, that's what we need. We don't need guns around our kids. Well, how are we going to protect them? That's Don speaking back, by the way. We're going to pick up rocks out of the playground and throw at us? Yeah.
Speaking in the past, we just passed the 1-year anniversary of constitutional carry. Where is the, ask Facebook if anybody's seen the shootouts of OK2A and the blood flowing in the streets?
Slightly ahead of here.
All right.
Let me finish this, but remind me I'll do that. Okay.
Calm down.
Okay. Also, we're going into the business owner's rights, and we're clarifying, this is one that passed out of the, it passed last year out of the Senate. And we're putting it in this bill, clarifying that a person, an Uber driver, pizza driver, whatever, if you're driving your own personal vehicle, doing work for a business, that business cannot tell you you can't have a gun in your car. It's your car. So we're putting that language into the business owner's rights. We actually have a member of OK2A that his brother was murdered about 12 years ago as a pizza driver in Oklahoma City area. So, and then I get a call from a guy, it's an Uber driver up in Collinsville or Owasso or something like that, and he's concerned. He said, well, I carry my gun. I said, man, I would too. I said, what's Uber going to do to you? Just go get a lift deal and go from there, you know, just find something else. So anyway, the second part, the part I look forward to, is when I personally would probably file a request to be an Uber driver, and then let them tell me I can't have my gun in the car when the state law says I can. That's what we'll do. And I don't have any problem letting Uber know, which is one of the Uber liberal places on earth, to let them know you can't do that or you'll pay. So we'll have that going on also. We're clarifying also in the private property, in the business owner's rights, and a lot of this looks funny, but we're adding the word liquor store, clarifying that you can carry your handgun with the permission of the property owner into a liquor store. There's some old obscure law that does exist that actually is in the Able Commission laws that actually says if you're carrying alcohol, it is equal to consuming. I see a problem. Yeah. So someone's at Walmart and they pick up a bottle of wine or a 6-pack, and mama's got the kids in there in the cart or standing beside the cart. She's got her gun in the purse. This is an issue, and which should not even be a thought. Someone walks into a liquor store or even a liquor store. So we're putting it in the Self-Defense Act to include liquor stores because it's I think probably a volatile area, high demand target. I'm guessing. So that's what's being added. Also, let me see what else. I think I've already described the rest of this. But when I say omnibus, like I say, that's cramming 5 bills. Now, this is important enough. Let me tell you who's running these bill for us.
Nathan Dahl.
It's being introduced by State Representative John Eccles, the floor leader of the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty convinced, and I'm hoping, I don't know, we may have to beg for that Eric Robert guy I'm hoping we can get it out of the House. What the Senate's going to do, we're going to have to make the phone calls, the emails, and that stuff's important, that kind of stuff. That's what's going on with that. Let me see what else I'm leaving on here. Okay.
Hey Don,
Sir.
Federal Hog Bill, is that being introduced again?
Yes, it's actually being changed a little bit. It's going to be actually considered a nuisance animal bill. What we're doing is we're going to not just feral hogs, coyotes, raccoons, something else, and we're going to actually just start a list of nuisance animals that's clarified that if you can legally discharge your firearm and wherever you're at, you can legally take out one of these animals. So I live in an unincorporated area, and trust me, I'd love to take out more feral hogs if we could. But so I don't have to ask the government for permission to do so. And they said, well, all you gotta do is just fill in the app. It still requires government permission. No, it's my property. No. And with all these other bills we've got, if I can stop a person from coming on my property and destroying it, it should be no issue at all for me to stop a 300-pound rat. Period. So I mean, Don's got an attitude about that because Don's had to deal with the 300-pound rats too. So, any other questions, folks?
Capital carry.
Capital carry, that is being introduced again. The version, actually there's going to be a couple different versions of it. One version is going to be, and don't just scream yet because we're not done here, is going to be legislators only. I'm not a fan of this, but we've tried for 6 years to get movement on this, and we haven't. So I think it's time that we may say, okay, legislators, let's let you guys get in the door. We may also include anyone that has a cleat certification of a phase 4, 5, or 6, which is an armed security guard, bounty hunter guy, and private investigator, because those people have all had additional fleet training also, so we may actually try to put that in there also. To get at least more people in that door, in that building, carrying, and then we'll continue to push on after that. Okay, legislators can carry, so can the rest of us. And what convinced me to consider to do this is actually how Kansas did it. Kansas actually put in the first step for legislators first. Texas just said, anyone with a license, just come on in. So I'm not ruling out, but like I said, we're going to get something in the door. We're going to get something in the door that can't right now. And also in this that we're doing, we're going to allow legislators to carry into some other places that you probably do not carry, which would be other public sensitive buildings, so schools and some stuff like that. Because I mean, guys, I mean, nobody's nobody, but I consider myself a nobody too at times. But you won't believe the way these morons who claim to be gun guys will do these threats. One of them was pretty hacked at me because of this exact what we just talked about, because of the gun being horizontal. Well, okay, you go get your felony. You go get your felony. We warned you. We warned you that's what's going to happen. So, so I can see legislators, they're in a vulnerable position, and especially you don't want a mass issue to take place and someone from every point possible to take it. Because some of the legislators in there are pretty good marksmen. And I got no heartburn with them carrying. So I think that should happen. And like I say, we'll take this, I'm willing to pinch my nose on it and say, okay, we're going to do this so we can have some advancement on this. It's privileged stuff. Yeah, I agree it is. But see, also keep in mind, this is exactly how we did it. So people could carry in the county buildings, county employees. We got the county elected official to be able to carry first, then we came back and got the employees to carry. All right? So we worked our way that way, and I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to come at this from a little bit different angle. Maybe, but with all the new blood in there, maybe we can push it on through like it is. Believe it or not, who's stopping it? Guess who's stopping it? Doesn't like it? Higher education. Because they know, if they can carry that state capitol, we're going to go carry on a college campus. And the answer is, yep, that's our plan. That's exactly right. No secret here. So there's no gun zones. We're going to continue to eliminate those by all practical means. Don't act like you guys are, well, I can't carry my courthouse. No, you're probably not ever going to, all right? Because it's a secured area. There are prisoners that are in there from time to time. Folks, just don't do stuff you have to go to the courthouse. So, I mean, don't get in trouble or, that kind of stuff, just to avoid it. So, and there's a few other things. I want to work on long-term, like the Thunder, that you can have a lockbox that even if you rent for a nominal fee, that if you're going to the Thunder, you go into a certain gate, you're carrying your concealed weapon on you, you can check it inside that lockbox, pay your $2 or $3, you take the key, you leave your identification and business card in there with it, then you go enjoy the game, you come back, you put your key in the lockbox, you take your gun out, you holster it, you go back and go on about your night. I've been downtown and I don't like walking around there all that time without a firearm to defend myself, especially going back to the car, which can be 10 blocks away, on some of that stuff. So I want to work on that. I have not really addressed that with any of the city people, but that's one of the goals we're working on also. Let's see what I've got a list of, teacher carry for teachers. That will be introduced again.
We had a question online about
Yes, what's the question?
campus carry.
That's just what I was going to, yes, it will be introduced again. Also, who here has ever been to Lake Carl Blackwell? Okay, you've been on, I need to go up there. When you go on there, it's basically like a state park, right? You just drive in, is there any buildings like restrooms or anything like that?
Few buildings.
Restrooms, but there's no other organized buildings. It's like a state park. Okay, our bill I'm looking to introduce is going to exclude Lake Carl Blackwell from the prohibition of college campus carry, because it's just a state park like. But they hold it as a shrine. Well, it's college campus, you can't carry a gun here. When you go out there, it looks like a state park, from what I understand. I'm gonna go make that tour myself. So that's one college campus. I think it's possible that our state legislature would say, yeah, this should not be a big deal, and it shouldn't be a big deal. So that's one of the things. But yes, two is the college campus carry bill we have, folks. I'm leaving that mostly in the hands of the university students that we work so hard for to get private First Amendment protection for them, so they can be vocal for this. And last year we didn't hear a peep out of them. So it's the college students. I'm waiting for them to actually just get a little bit organized like they want it. Otherwise, I'm not going to break my back on it just yet. We've got other fish to fry here. There's no doubt about it. So if they get organized, but it will be introduced, and it's designed specifically if the event has a ticket of monetary value, you would not be able to carry into that event. So such as a football game, a basketball game, anything along that line. And we don't want them to think that they can just say, we didn't say the word just ticket, because they'll just use Evite, and everyone will have to have a ticket, and they'll be able to prohibit carry. And so basically it's anything outside of that with a person would have to carry concealed, it has to be a handgun, and they have to have a valid SDA license to carry. That's what we're working on in that bill. And I think it's a good bill. I think it should be, it's what Texas has basically got. They're all worried about, they're going to be carrying football games and basketball games. No, you'll still be able to prohibit them there. You'll still have your little bit there. But at least for anyone else crossing the campus, on the campus, going to class, would be able to carry and defend themselves, provided they had a valid SDA license. And so anyway, yeah.
Online question, how is Senator Lankford on Oklahoma gun rights?
Well, it's not that he's done anything bad, that's for sure. I want to make sure it's clear. Senator Lankford has done nothing bad. It's just do something good. I've had specific conversations with him, and I have to concede, yes, if you don't have the House of Representatives, there's not much going to happen. And that might be his lack of motivation for trying anything. Representative Hearn was actually the most useful help on gun legislation we can look at. But as far as Lankford on that, I wish he quit worrying about trying to call Columbus Day Indigenous Peoples Day. That's just an absolute insult. Train wreck. And this last week, he could have done a whole lot better on making sure Biden gets his daily dietary supplement. Oh wait, no, that's something else. What was that? It was
Security
Briefing.
security briefing, right?
China.
I personally, if I had been the senator, I would not have said nothing, and then made sure he continued to get a security briefing instead of trying to make a show out of it. We've got Republicans, we've got to start. No, that election's not over.
Yeah.
It's not over. And in fact, I think we're going to witness a heck of a history lesson here. I think it's possible we may see what happened back in the early 1800s, that the Electoral College has not sufficed enough votes to make it happen, which would be 270, which the possibility of it then would be put into the House of Representatives in Congress to determine who the president is. This thing's far from over. Trump, hang in there, because we know this thing was stolen. There is just no way, when you watch that man make 3, 4, 5 rallies a day with tens of thousands of people showing up with little or no notice to be there, versus the guy that couldn't draw 100 people with the previous president there at a rally. So I'm thinking all these people must have been out working ballots, filling out ballots, so they'd be prepared to turn in because they weren't at the Biden rally. There's plenty of evidence that this stuff is going on. And of course, we know the media has just flat looked the other direction. No big super shock there. We also also know that, High Tech, they were on the grill today and yesterday, and nothing's gonna happen because they know nothing's gonna get passed unless you have the House and the Senate and the President's office. So, it's gonna be pretty interesting. So we're watching some history. Again, if for some reason, President Biden becomes president, folks, it's not the end of the world. We're just gonna prop up this state as high as we can prop it up. And we've got legislators right here that are willing to help set our rights so they're not touched even by the federal government. Because at some point, we need to make sure law enforcement, especially sheriffs, if some edict comes down to start gathering up guns, the sheriffs need to know, well, if they're coming to get mine, it's gonna be real hot on the end you're wanting to grab, for starters. Two, sheriff, we're willing to back you up to keep them from coming in here. We will help you. We'll right beside you, because we got nothing to lose. We're right there with you at that point. So, and I'll make it real clear, you're not coming to take my guns. It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. And like I say, I'm gonna deal with this at the ballot box the best way we can, and so we don't ever have to open up the ammo box. But don't be mistaken on us. We will open up that ammo box. So don't push us to do it. It's government that causes civil war, not the people. All right, any questions on that? Yay, amen. Right, I heard an amen at the back. You got one more? Oh.
Constitutional carry.
Thank
Number
you,
one.
Kendall. That's why Kendall sits at the front. Plus, he likes apples. Okay, constitutional carry. It's been in effect for over a year. And I want people to tell me how many bodies did you step over getting into the meeting tonight, or going out to grocery store, or whatever it is you're doing. Anybody have a problem with that? Nope. Has anybody noticed a sharp increase or decrease in crime? And the crime has definitely decreased because the number of guns have increased so high that if you take every crime divided by the guns, it's had to have dropped. When there's 200, 300, 400, I had one guy tell me it's over 500% increase in firearm sales, and it would be higher than that if he could get his hands on them. Folks, oh yeah, please, quit calling me and asking me a good place to get guns. I don't know. We had two gun shows, major gun shows canceled this year. So if you see a gun that you like and you think you can hold out for a better price, you're stupid. You better grab it. You better grab it.
Same thing with toilet
Oh,
paper.
right here in the rack? Yeah, grab your rifle on the way out of the store tonight. Absolutely. Probably sweet. You may need it for a baseball bat because you got no ammo to go with it. So, anyway on that. So, that's about tonight's gig of what's going on. We're going to continue to keep you posted. Like I say, folks, get your legislators' phone number and email address in your phone. In your phone. And that's the key to a lot of this, because a lot of this stuff you won't have to show up at the Capitol because we can do so much preface work, because the fact that a legislator knows that, hey, my district is for this is easy, we're good, and it doesn't matter how many of them red shirts show up, we're good. So, yay our side. Any other questions? Yes?
Are they gonna update the Oklahoma legislative guide?
Yes, the OAEC.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of another thing. Anyone else here that's an instructor? The OSBI, Representative Roberts, I would appreciate it if you make a note of this. The OSBI has not produced this year's 2020 Self-Defense Act, which is usually due November 1st of each year. And for some reason, they've not done it. I'm sure they're going to yell COVID, but actually, I would be willing to accuse them of since constitutional carries. In fact, they've done some real bonehead stuff with people, even with constitutional carry, that they just don't want to get them a license to them and punish people. I think that they could still be attempting to punish the people who want to get license. And so I think we're at the point that since the books have not been printed, the website has not been updated, I'm willing to accuse them of maliciously doing this on purpose. Because they've done it before. So that's something that we'll address very shortly. Like I say, it's, they're supposed to have it out, it's supposed to be ready, they're not doing it. Folks, there was only one change, it was the anti-red flag law. That was it. I mean, this was an easy year for them. We made an easy year for them. So there should not be a big excuse for that.
Next year.
So, because a couple of us instructors have said, have you seen the book yet? No, I haven't seen the book yet. Usually you get the book about 2 days before November the 1st, and then they put it up on the website and everything's cool. But not this time. So I think they're trying to do a little payback. So we may have to make some adjustments in state law that if they don't have it ready, that their agency will be fined or
Shut down.
lower the amount of money that they get. Period. It's one of those things, and that kind of helps get their attention sometimes. Anyone have a question? Okay.
One more internet question if you have time.
Sure.
ATF is looking into AR pistols as AOW. Do you recommend that we register our weapons?
No.
Let me go back to Senate Bill 18.
Federally.
Oh, that's the wrong one. 16. Oh, I got you. See, you guys, you wonder how I do this? I wonder how I do this too.
Change the Constitution.
Yeah, it's in the anyway, the Constitution said there'd be no, we've defined what a pistol is and so on. No, I will not be registering any firearms. It will not be taking place. And they can ask all they want. And folks, on the Facebook, guys, the joke is over. I lost all my guns in a boating accident. That's so old. We don't even let it go up there. Just don't waste my time putting it up there.
That made my boat insurance go up.
It makes your blood sugar go up. Shot a hole in the bottom of your boat. So anyway, all right. Anything else on there?
That's it.
That's it? Holy cow.
They've been quiet tonight.
Oh, it's kind of a quiet night, but it's kind of an interesting time. But we'll see how this plays out, because I would not be surprised we come back for our December meeting and we still don't know who the president is. I think actually that would be to our advantage. So we'll just see. Like I say, I think you're going to see some history in the making you've never seen before. Yeah. So it's an interesting time to be alive. Fear not. Don't worry about this. We're just gonna go on about our business.
One good thing about the House Representative picking president, the U.S. Senate picks the vice president.
Yep.
How does that?
And it's a vote state
It's a
by,
simple majority on either one.
it's a state by state. Each state gets one vote, so if we have more Republicans.
What determines how they vote?
Okay.
Each state gets one vote. So if you're,
One rep per state.
so if our
Legislature.
our representatives are dominant Republican, they would have one vote for the Republican or whoever they could vote for George Jones for all we know. I think he's dead though. So each state gets one vote in the House, and then each state gets one vote in the Senate. It's determined by their particular makeup.
So basically, from what I
Currently, there are
understood,
more Republican dominated
it's like 37.
things in the House of Representatives than there are.
30 what?
30 delegations are Republican strong versus 20 are Democrat strong.
Okay.
So,
Give me the number again.
30 state delegations are dominant Republican,
Right.
and 20 state delegations are dominant Democrat.
Okay, I thought it was
And
a little
each one
higher
gets
than that.
one vote
Okay.
if
But
the
it's a
Electoral
simple
College
majority.
fails to get
Right.
270.
So it's a simple majority.
right,
26 of these states
yep,
agree, and it's settled.
yep. And they could vote for Don Spencer. They don't have to vote for who's on
No,
the ballot.
do the other Donald, big orange Donald.
Okay.
Go for the
Orange
Donald.
man.
So, and this has played out twice in history before. Now, does our Congress listen to history and watch our Constitution?
No.
There's the issue. That's how this could go. But we'll see if the courts throw this stuff out. They've already started some movement. I think Arizona had pointed out out something today that said, no, this doesn't work for us. So we'll start seeing these dominoes kind of fall into that position. But, folks, there is no one that is the president elect at this moment. And don't let the media tell you anything different on it either. That's why we have to be educated. That's why we have to educate our kids to keep this from happening in the future. And that's why it's just so important. So, and that's why they gotta know their First Amendment right, their Second Amendment rights, and right on down the line. So one more?
No, that's it.
That's it? Oh, so I was tired a half hour ago. And we gotta, I think they closed the store at 8, folks, so we need to cut this off and get out of here. Oh, before I forget, U.S. Law Shield's in the house. U.S. Law Shield, if you have not signed up for U.S. Law Shield, if you have not signed up as an OK2A member, I have no idea what you're waiting for. You need to do that.
Waiting for Christmas.
Wait for Christmas.
That's enough, ain't it?
All right, folks, good night, y'all be good.
No, go ahead. Checking the microphone. I am.